Before I go ahead and report out on closed session items, I'd like to ask you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Do we have a student volunteer who'd like to lead us? We have
The two ladies right there?
lead. Yeah, both of you. That would be great.
Right there on the microphone.
Sí se puede.
All right, you ready?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. So before we get started, I just wanted to go through a couple of reminders. I just wanted to remind us that we are being broadcast live on a YouTube station, so anything that's captured on video stays online. That's, I think, an important reminder for all of us. Also, Ms. Aquino, our executive assistant, is charged with taking minutes. So in that spirit, I do ask that you keep side conversations to a minimum. Or if you really must speak, if I could ask you to step outside. Also, just so that our folks that are listening online, can hear the audio as clearly as possible. If you would like to address us regarding non-agendized items, please submit your speaking cards at this time and identify the section under non-agenda items, please. Currently we do have a limit of 30 minutes for speakers on public comment on non-agenda items. If we do exhaust that time and folks still would like to speak, we will resume after all other agenda items have completed. Please follow the same process for agendized items and identify the relevant agenda item. So again, just as a reminder, please submit. The target is to have everyone submit their speaker cards at the start of the meeting, before the start of the meeting, or upon arrival. Thank you very much. Again, as a board, we don't normally respond to speakers, but I may direct a staff to respond immediately upon comment or following the meeting. And finally, this is something that I should learn by heart, but I'm still reading from my notes. I think this is something important that we, review at every meeting, that we will always try to conduct ourselves in a professional manner and in accordance with Brown Act guidelines. We ask that we all treat each other with respect, and we do look forward to your constructive feedback on how to make these meetings more productive, as we do strive to drive a culture of excellence here for our students at Newark Unified. Thank you. With that, I'd like to report out on closed session items. The board voted 4-1 to release and reassign an administrator pursuant to Ed Code 44951, effective July 1st, 2020. And with that, we move to the student report.
Yes, good evening, President Martinez, members of the board, and our community. If I could please ask our junior high representative to come forward and read their report and share what's going on at Newark Junior High School. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, my name is Sophia Rollins, and I'm an eighth grader at NJHS. I'm here on behalf of the leadership class to tell you all about the upcoming events we've planned and the total amount of money we raised for the fundraiser, Pennies for Patients. First, I'm going to start off by telling you Pennies for Patients is a fundraiser to raise money for kids with blood cancer. Our goal for NJHS was $4,500, and out of the 5+ years we've partnered with this foundation, we raised the most we ever had. With all the wonderful students and staff, we surpassed our goal, and in the end, we all raised $4,911.74. As a fun way to get more students to bring change, we asked some teachers to do a dare if we reached our goal. For example, shaving their legs, juggling eggs, dressing as Superman, doing TikTok dances, and many more fun dares that will be shown in our morning announcements. Some other events we've planned are the multicultural event, multicultural rally, and the carnival themed dance. The multicultural event this is going to be the first year that we have it at our school, and it is an event that students at NJHS can bring different food and other artifacts from their own culture and showcase it with other students at our school. And the rally is the same thing, but you can perform different acts from their culture. The last event we planned is the carnival themed dance for the 7th and 8th graders for a colorful night of fun. Thank you for having me here and letting me tell you all these wonderful events.
Thank you. And do we have a student representative from the McGregor campus here this evening? Oh, thank you, Ms. Rangel. Thank you. Come forward and give your report. Thank you for being here tonight.
You can do it.
You can do it.
I can't. Yes, you can.
Thank you. Thank you. And we'll check in to have some more support for next time. So, Mr. Castillo, if you'd like to share for Newark Memorial High School.
Thank you, Superintendent Salinas. So ASB is going to be hosting our Multicultural Week. That's going to be March 16th through the 20th. To start off, we have our International Food Fair on Wednesday, March 18th. That's going to be at lunch as usual. So 11:50 a.m. All of our clubs are going to be selling foods from or our ethnic clubs will be selling food from their respective countries of origin or regions of origin. So that's what they're always selling, but it's a good spotlight on our diversity at Newark Memorial. Our Hats Assembly. Annual Hats Assembly with our cool dancing is going to be Friday, March 20th. That's going to be at 11:40 a.m. in the event center. Admission is free. It's an hour of clubs doing their various ethnic dances. Also fun. FSU Tahitian is a really nice one. Mechan Ballet Folklorico will be there as well. And then later that evening, the community assembly will be at 7 p.m. For those who can't attend in the morning. That will also be in the event center, I believe. The LGBTQ plus support club is going to be doing a transgender presentation tomorrow in the theater. They're going to be doing it all day, one presentation per period. Various teachers will be taking the classes with them to go see that presentation. It's really informative and really inspiring to see the bravery and the history that's being presented in this presentation. So I recommend you check it out at least once. The drama department's spring musical is Shrek the Musical. It opens Friday, April 24th at 7 p.m. in the theater. The athletics crab feed is Saturday, March 14th at 6 p.m. at Swiss Park. Tickets are $50, and I believe they're still on sale. So they can be purchased through Coach K or from any coach at Memorial. And then last but not least, I would like to give a shout out to Ari Pereira. She won the CIF state wrestling title in the 160-pound weight class. So we'd like to give her our congratulations. Is she? Yes. Where is she? So really making all of Newark proud. I think we obviously do appreciate Ari's skill, her prowess. That's really good. That's all I have at this time. Thank you.
Would you like to continue and introduce our spotlight?
Yes, this evening we have, we are sneaking in an extra spotlight after Schilling Elementary, so that's our surprise. So thank you, Mr. Castillo, for the nice preview. But I'd like to invite first Dr. Wendy Castañeda Leal, principal of Schilling Elementary, to come to the podium and going to share the spotlight for Schilling Elementary.
Good evening, members of the board, executive cabinet, and Superintendent Salinas. So I'm Dr. Wendy Castañeda Leal, principal at Schilling Elementary, and it is the greatest school on earth. And so here you'll see a picture of our staff, all wearing our Schilling pride, and we're always the gold stars because we're the only school in district who has gold status for PBIS, so we're always gold. The mission of Schilling in the quest for excellence is Schilling School is that all students will learn at high levels to be ready for a college or career. And every morning our students hear our mission so that they know what we're striving for. And today I have a couple of students, or several students, who want to sing our Schilling song. I know last year I promised you that I would sing it, but I did even better and I brought our students here today. You guys ready? And our staff is going to help out too.
Stand up.
Stand up.
Stand up.
Stand up. It's okay. So well. Thank you, students. Thank you, parents, for coming out too, and teachers. I know it's a long day. So a little bit of our demographics. We're about 364, 72% free or reduced lunch, and the same with socioeconomics. English learners is about 50%. Majority of our ethnicity is Hispanic, almost 80%, with the rest of the demographics as noted. It's changed a little bit this year compared to last year, especially with the new subdivisions that are coming right next to Dumbarton Bridge. We have 1 TK classroom, 2.5 kinder classrooms, 2.5 first grades, 2 second, 2 third, 1 fourth, 1 fifth, 1 fifth, 6th grade combo, a 6th grade, a special day class, a science resource class, PE class, an intervention teacher, and an RSP class. Our goals and focus is all based on our SIPSA. School Site Council develops the SIPSA and our ELAC feedback, and our parent-teacher organization. We get together and we develop our goals. So we have a lot of PBIS Tier 2, 1, 2, and 3 support, RTI, PLCs for our teachers with collaboration and professional development, STEAM weeks, and if you look at our display in the back, we did one of our STEAM weeks, and our fabulous science teacher, Miss Bloom, helped organize all this. Not only did she help organize it, every month we have a focus on a different topic. So last year was a focus on a different culture. This year we did it on a different topic. And for the month we were doing women. And so she did the whole lesson in collaboration with her committee on women in STEAM. So science, technology, engineering, art, and math is all influenced by the women back there, and you can read about that. So our students did a fabulous job out there. So that was really good. We are also partaking in our SEAL collaboration, and here we have our 2 instructional coaches who worked with our TK teacher. They're doing a fabulous job. I'm so grateful that we do have this partnership. We have a lot of activities, and as we get more funds or more volunteers, we're able to add more stuff. So this year we were able to add with our VAPA funds, the dance club, the yearbook club, the violin, and the theater club. We also have a partnership with University of California at Davis. So we got 20 brand new Little Bits, oops, I lost my train of thought, sorry. Little Bits robots, thank you. And we'll be starting that in a couple weeks. We also have robotics club that we partner with high school students from Fremont Unified. So they come to our school and they teach our kids. We still continue with our baile folklorico and our cultural assemblies or focus months. And for next year, we'll be the first school in Newark for the DLI, dual language. So we're excited about that. Currently, our attendance has improved. This is from the California dashboard. Last year we were at 6.7 chronically absent, so we had a decline of 25.7, so that's really good. And right now we're sitting at 97.07. That's excellent. For our, what's this, ELA, we improved by 11.3% on our SBAC tests. So double digits improvement. For our math, we improved by 12.6%, double digits again. And for our English learner progress, our reclassified students are showing the same kind of thread amongst the district, where reclassified students are performing better than our English-only students. We also use Class Dojo, and this is one of Ms. Kidd's posts, and Class Dojo is our internal system where we can communicate with parents one-on-one. It's kind of like a Facebook, but in a controlled environment. I can put class stories up there and that all the parents can see, and the parents can also message me, text message, and we get it immediately so that we know what's going on, and it's instant communication. We also set our expectations high. The rubric here and the picture is one that we actually do in TK. And so every grade level has a different type of rubric, but every grade level also has a data wall, and the teachers do data talks with their students so that they can do some goal setting. PBIS, again, we are the only school that is in gold, so we're very proud of that. We have a Tier 1 Fidelity, which is our classroom systems. Our Tier 2 are more specialized programs for students who need additional intervention. And Tier 3, we do have EBAC services, but also in our SIPSA, we contract with an individual counselor who, for students who do not have Medi-Cal but still need one-on-one counseling and don't have an IEP. So we use our Schilling stars. We look at the data from SWIS to determine what action plans we need to do, and then we revisit the data once we've done those action plans to see if they've influenced the data. So we like to be data focused. So again, our store, I call it our little Chuck E. Cheese. Our students bring in their Schilling stars, and we have a team, but mostly one of our campus monitor, Miss Lisa, who is back there. She runs it all for us, and she sets the prices. She's just great. And our kids come in and they start exchanging their Schilling stars for prizes. And she opens it up twice a month. And she has a whole schedule and everything. She's just great. And so just to highlight a couple of the events, and you guys are welcome to come. Tomorrow's our 90s days, so we'll be dressing in the 90s. And then next Friday the 13th is our family game night brought to you by our parent-teacher organization. We'll have a performing arts concert on April 3rd, which is going to be Baile Folklorico, the Violin Club, and the Theater Club, all performing that night. And then on April 8th, we're going to be presenting at the CABE Dual Language Conference in San Francisco. April 30th, we're doing Dia de los Niños, and then Cinco de Mayo, Baile Folklorico has been invited to be the opening for the Oakland A's, and we'll be selling tickets as a fundraiser. So thank you so much. Can I have my parents, teachers, and staff and students, anybody from Schilling, please stand up so we can recognize that you're here. Woo! It is the greatest school on earth. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Questions? No.
Go ahead. I'll go.
You have a question?
Not a question.
Okay.
It's a comment. I'm looking at the back of the board and I'm seeing the little dolls and
Yeah.
it brought me back to when I was at Schilling. And I believe my mom actually still has my doll. So I thought it was great and the board looks amazing in the back. The students, thank you for coming and thank you for singing the song. It was great. Thank you for all you're doing. It sounds like you guys are having a great experience at Schilling. Thank you.
We are. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Member Zhang?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for the great work and the great work by your team. Schilling feels special to me because I live in the Schilling area, and you mentioned about the new subdivision near the Dumbarton. When I visited those neighborhoods and I talked to some of the new parents that have kids in Schilling, they were telling me that Schilling has a great principal and a great team. So I
Thank you.
I thank you for your.
It's all our teachers and our parents,
Hopefully we
really.
continue the work to attract more of those parents to send their kids to Schilling.
Thank you.
Member Rodriguez?
Yes, I too would like to thank all the parents and the students, the teachers, the staff. There was something on there about Newark Soccer Club, or the Newark Soccer.
Oh, yes.
Can you mention that, please?
Yes, so we are second year in a row, the boys won the championship. So
All
we're
right.
so proud of our boys.
Congratulations. I wanted to thank you for being an excellent greeter. I know we have that big development that's not too far from your school. And I've heard some good things when parents want to come and visit the school and everything. Thank you for doing that.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Yes, I just wanted to comment. I think, very, very proud of what you're doing with the team, with your parents, with the teachers. It's amazing to see the great improvement in your overall academic performance. So thank you very much. I wanted to say something in Spanish too, porque veo muchos papás aquí de habla hispana y eso es tan importante para que nuestros niños sigan estudiando y sigan siempre persiguiendo la excelencia, que es el tema que queremos llevar nosotros como líderes del distrito. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you so much for all the effort.
Yeah, oh, thank you, guys.
Sorry, a member Wing.
I just wanted to say thank you for all the hard work that you and your staff are doing. And also, I echo the same sentiments as all the other board members here tonight. So wonderful job, you guys, and keep up the great work.
Thank you. Thank you, Schilling. Thank you, boys and girls. And thank you, parents and teachers. So I'm going to slip in another recognition that is very timely, and Mr. Castillo gave a great preview. So if I could please have Principal Rangel, Coach K, and Ari Pereira please come forward to the podium.
Go Cougars!
Okay, good evening. I'm honored. First of all, let me back up. My name is Rachel Kahawali'i. Coach K, as many people refer to me. I am the athletic director at Newark Memorial, and it really is my honor and privilege to be here tonight for this very, very special event and the honoring of Ariana Pereira. Ari is a senior. She is a 3-sport athlete. She plays volleyball, she wrestles, and she participates in track. She does all of this all year, every year, maintains a 3.8 GPA. She has become, just last weekend, 2 weeks ago, last weekend has become a California State wrestling champion. Which, if you've ever been to a wrestling match, you will know that wrestling is one of those sports that will expose everything about you. It is so hard, so difficult in so many different ways to put yourself out there and to compete by yourself, and the grit and the struggle that she has had to go through and has overcome and persevered, and the work and work and work and more work and sacrifice and dedication to maintain a high GPA and be an exceptional performer. I am just extremely proud to introduce her as a state champion. However, I also have to say this. She is a state champion in wrestling, but she is a champion in every way. She is an amazing person. She's an exceptional student athlete leader. And I am, again, so proud of her wrestling accomplishments, but also so grateful to be a part of her journey and just to see her just shine. So thank you and congratulations.
Speech.
I don't know, I was supposed to talk. I don't know what to say.
How do you feel being the champion?
It's cool. Yeah. Thank my dad and my family for being here. We're a wrestling family, and this is 1 out of 4, so it's cool.
The Olympics is next.
Yeah. That's soon. Yeah.
Congratulations. Thank you so much.
So next I would like to have Coach K come up here. Don't leave, Coach K. So a few weeks ago, we heard that Coach K was actually awarded as the best of athletic directors for the Mission Valley Athletic League. So we wanted her to come forward, and we know that there's going to be another big presentation later on in the spring. But, students know her. She's got a commitment here in Newark, and we wanted her to come forward today so we can publicly acknowledge her and congratulate her for this really well-deserved recognition. So, Coach K, congratulations.
Not to overstep, but I just have to say, Coach K, yes, she's an athletic director, but she's so much more for our students. She's a social emotional coach some days. Some days she's the assistant principal. Some days she just wears very many hats. She is definitely a community builder. She instills the best in our students. A lot of other districts and schools are modeling her, what she built, which is Champions of Character, after us at Newark Memorial. So she is actually recognized as the State Athletic Director of the Year, so she's also our state champion. So I just wanted to acknowledge her.
Again, thank you for this acknowledgement, and really when I think about it, I have to say I'm honored to be really the face of this award that really belongs to so many people. There is such a huge part of what we do is with our coaches and our student athletes and their families that make the sacrifice to make Newark Memorial Athletics what it is. And I do believe that part of the reason why I received this award out of many people that could have, many deserving people that could have, is because of our belief in educational athletics and building champions for life. And that's what we do, and that's what we believe in. of course, we love to win. We love to compete. We love all of that. But again, really, it's our belief in building champions for life and our belief in educational athletics. And so, I would like to invite all of you to come and not just come to a game. I think that's kind of what the assumption is. Come watch a game or two, which would be amazing also. But I would really like to invite you to come and get involved in some of the other things that we do, including our Champions of Character class that our student athletes are participating in every week, our Student Athlete Advisory Council that I meet with every month, the service part of athletics where we're hosting the Special Olympics, theme nights, community nights, dinners for the homeless shelter, the residents, and all of the many community outreach things that we do. And so I welcome you to join us not only for a game, but for our part in the community and just see some very, very outstanding student athlete leaders. So thank you. And again, thank you to all of our coaches and student athletes and their families and the support that I receive from the community and our administration. Thank you very much.
If I may, President Martinez?
Oh, yes, please.
I just wanted to, as she's taking the pictures, no need to, but I wanted to congratulate Coach K and also say how proud I am of seeing another Newark product coming back and giving to our community and proud to say that what greatness, I mean, to be honest, what great achievements our Newark students can achieve. So thank you for all your work. Thank you for giving back to our community, and congratulations.
Okay, is that the last? Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. Moving on to item 9, public comment on non-agenda items. Ms. Cindy Parks.
Good evening. How do you follow up all that greatness? But I'm going to try. On the Title III that I brought to your attention at the last meeting, sent an email on February 11th. I have yet to receive any type of written response regarding all of the different items that I identified that were paid out of Title III, that regarding the dual immersion that can't be charged to Title III. I've not gotten any kind of correspondence concerning the inappropriate, or my term inappropriate, charge to those accounts. I also am here to lobby again for the ADIS correction. I still have not received any type of acknowledgement of the almost $500,000 that was charged to Measure G for the ADIS work. And again, there were projects that are not allowed under Measure G. The schools consolidation update, based on all of the timelines for the school consolidation advisory committee, I would have thought that would have been on the agenda for today for you to appoint that committee, since actually the first meeting was supposed to take place this month. The other item is the Godby survey. I know that you're waiting for the election. I'm hoping that we'll get some, I don't know whether you're going to, what you're thinking, since a lot of the measures didn't pass. If you're going to reevaluate whether you want to even do that, or maybe that is, at least it'll give you the pulse on the community. But I'd also like to mention to you this evening's meeting starting at 7:30 and your last meeting starting at 7:30. On December 5th of last year, you approved your meeting times and your meeting dates for your regular meetings. And on the agenda item, you said you were going to start your meetings at 7 p.m. And you've been meeting at 7:30. And in order to have a cohesive tone to your meetings. I think that you need to conduct your business at the same time at every meeting as you voted to do. You've had people the last 2 meetings that have shown up expecting the meetings to start at 7 o'clock, and then they've had to wait that additional 30 minutes because not everybody knows. They don't even look at the agenda. Some of them are just being told by their principals to be here at a certain time for a certain presentation. And I think, again, you need to have that cohesiveness of when you have set the time to meet and when you're going to follow through with what, the path that you've chosen. Thank you.
Sorry, thank you. Ms. Sue Eustace?
Good evening. My name is Sue Eustace, and I'm president of the Newark Chapter 208 of the California School Employees Association. I'm going to be speaking twice tonight, so you're going to get kind of a double bang for the buck. I was really disappointed in the idea that it's been almost a year ago that Ryland was asked and was paid for to give a recommendation of where to make cuts in the district. They were paid around $22,000. And when they came in, they also were asked to kind of describe what had taken place in the last 7 to 10 years. The last 7 to 10 years, your classified bargaining unit has been cut, sliced, and diced. We are at bare bones, yet I see nothing done in the last year to make any cuts. No way to take and come and solve any of the problems that are going on in the district. We just continue along our merry way and put everything off. Your classified bargaining unit, a lot of them are getting hurt, they're really tired, they're not taking breaks. That's going to stop if I have anything to do with it, because if you're going to continue to lay us off, I'm going to tell them it's not worth it to kill themselves trying to do for you when you're not respecting them. So I'm going to finish this later on, but I care about the people that work here in the district. They're important to me. The kids are important to me. And the way you're treating our bargaining unit is deplorable. I'm sorry. You guys need to do your job.
Thank you. Mr. Kerry Knoop?
Good evening, everybody. I want to talk about a very serious and kind of a not so pleasant topic, and that's about the COVID-19 threat. Everybody in any leadership position needs to work hard right now. And please don't wait for those who are above you to give you all the answers. So, superintendent, board members, I think it's your duty to prepare. And that means that we hope not, but it's possible that we have to close schools for a while. And again, we don't hope that, but it is a possibility. And that means we have to prepare for that. We don't want to be confronted at the last moment and then we don't know what to do. Preparation means making an inventory about, could you do distance learning, for instance? Preparation means talking with the union. Make sure they're your partner, because the work situation will change and you have to make sure that the union is working together with you. It means identifying essential elements in the curriculum, what needs to be passed on to if there is a need for distance learning. Also making an inventory of what are the email addresses of all the teachers, the public email addresses. Do they have electronic FaceTime possibilities so that if students have questions, they can connect to teachers? All these things have to be prepared. And of course, we hope that we don't have to use that. But don't get caught. And don't rely on our county level or even our state or federal level Not everybody is proactive, unfortunately, as you probably have seen in our government. Some people are dropping the ball and then just say, let's wait and see, and the summer will give us the sun and it will go away. Well, that's not a good way to prepare. So I urge you to do that, and not only that, it is your responsibility to make sure that if we are going to get into this situation, that we are prepared. I prepared a letter I would like to give to every single board member and also to the superintendent, with just my 2 cents on it. There is a reference to the CDC. The CDC has given some guidelines, although it's a working process. And I would also want to highlight the state of Connecticut, who is the first state, as far as I know, who start making a preparation for looking at distance learning. And perhaps we can look at it. Some of the regulation will be different than in California, but at least we have something to hold on to and start thinking about. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Noop. Moving on to item 10, Superintendent Report.
Thank you. And as we get the slides that are put up by Ms. Aquino, I thank you, Mr. Noop, for your comments. I do have some information I'm going to share about that as well during my superintendent's comment. So first, I do want to start out by acknowledging and celebrating Ms. Mary Sayers, and the Child Nutrition Department. The high school students at Newark Memorial High School actually surprised them last week, I believe it was, with just thanking them for their innovation around the different types of foods. And if you're at Newark Memorial High School, on Mondays, I think, there's tortas and there's tacos and there's just different varieties so that we can have other options for students. And so a big thank you to the Child Nutrition Department staff and Ms. Sayers. So a huge thank you. Absolutely. On March 2nd, it was our professional development day for our teachers and also our staff, and a work day for our elementary folks. So Ms. Aquino, thank you. She led a great workshop on Monday with all of office staff, Secretary twos, and clerks around how to better serve our community and our families as they walk through the front door. So it was around customer service, but I think the first thing that they really focused on is how we're all in this together, how we are the Newark family. And so I do want to acknowledge all of the folks who took part in this, along with Ms. Aquino. So thank you. That was Monday. And so although kids were home with our families, our teachers and our staff were working hard here on Monday. So thank you. So I do want to go a little bit to just an update. As you all have been watching the media and seeing how this is really changing hour by hour across the United States, I do want to share with you with some of the work that we've been doing here in Newark Unified School District. So as soon as this has hit and we've done some preparation, I want to share that we have now a standing meeting where every 48 hours I'm actually convening a meeting with all of the department heads at the district office, and that includes everyone from our Director of Maintenance and Operations, Food Nutrition. We have certainly our cabinet members and folks around the table to really do some planning. So every 48 hours, we now have a standing meeting to really look at what are the developments. With that in place, we have looked at some additional measures, and that's working with Ms. Susan Condon and Ms. Dela Cruz around additional measures around the disinfectant of schools and classrooms, and some additional substitute staffing to support really this intense cleaning that we're having take place beginning with this evening. We are now in what's called preventive mode. So while we certainly don't have all of the answers, we do still have to rely on the Centers for Disease Control, certainly the World Health Organizations, of what are the best practices around keeping our students and our staff safe. We have done a great job of having a very fully stocked warehouse, that we have additional cleaning supplies that are in there, along with Kleenex and tissues and other disinfectants that are needed. So we have that on hand, and they're ready to deploy to sites based on the custodian's needs and the principals. And certainly our office managers that help to do some of that ordering. I believe it was day before yesterday, we actually deployed additional hand sanitizers to all of the school sites. And what we're asking is to really focus this in common areas, which is like our multi-purpose room, the front office staff, so that folks are washing their hands. So as you So as you start to see what is put out in the media, what the focus is around washing your hands. And first and foremost, we know that our kids are running around and don't always wash their hands, and so we have a plan for that. So we're also saying that there's reminders for students, and so our district nurse will be sending out a letter to remind families of when students should remain at home. We don't want students coming to school, although if they're sick, if they have a fever, if they're throwing up, so we have those guidelines out there for our families. I want to share that yesterday, the Alameda County Office of Education, Superintendent Monroe convened all the superintendents in Alameda County, and we had a conference call with the Alameda County Public Health Department, and really stressed that the most important message schools can have is around ways to prevent the spread of respiratory illnesses and viruses. They are certainly, again, ramping up the information as soon as they get it. And what we are all in for Alameda County is certainly a preventive state. But at the same time, we know that we have to work closely with the Newark Police Department. This morning, I met with one of our lieutenants, and we outlined some of the next steps, what we would do if we had to close the school. And I'm looking at our superintendent from Mission Valley ROP. We actually were all at the same meeting this week and are working together with how to really enact a plan if we had to close the school. At this point, there is the communication is that we are not closing schools. What we are looking at is as soon as we receive word from the Department of Health, and we are in communication with our colleagues in surrounding districts, we would enact our plan. In terms of educational services, Mr. Dolovich is already working on what would be options if we were to close the school and how we would support our staff and our students so that they continue and not have an interruption in their schooling. We know there will be an interruption if there is such a thing as a closing of a school or a quarantine, but we want to be able to have resources on hand so that our families have information and can give students tools and support that they could either do online or any other ways, if it's packets or what that looks like. So Mr. Dolovich is going to be working with teachers and with principals as to what that would look like. Tomorrow morning, I have called an emergency meeting with all of our site administrators to really share a lot of this information and to hear from them as to what the next steps are. But in short, we want to share that the best defense right now is ensuring that our classrooms are clean, their hands are washed, and we have to really be vigilant as to any symptoms that if someone is feeling sick, they're supposed to stay home. And the same would go for staff as well, certainly. I want to share that as part of this program and a way to be preventive is that on Monday, we're going to do what a lot of surrounding districts, we were talking, a lot of us superintendents, around a hand washing day. And so what's been deployed to classrooms and to schools, and we're getting ready for Monday, is that schools will start to receive these posters that they can hang in the classroom, and teachers at their discretion on Monday will actually be doing activities with students about how to wash our hands. So it is not a very quick thing, and if you've heard what's the guidance is out there, it's singing the ABCs twice, which is a very long time, and a lot of times kids think, okay, I'm done. So no, there's actually a time limit of how much soap you have to use, and so we're going to be doing that on Monday to really get the word out and really try to do as many preventive things as we can do. So the last thing I'll say is that we do have a plan. I'm meeting with staff, as I said, every 48 hours. Depending on what the media and the Department of Public Health puts out, we will be communicating that as well. If it has to be sooner, we will do that. On the website and this evening, we have pushed out a message to all families to continue to update them. If we have to, we will update every day so that we have information on the website. So this is something that we're going to start to focus a lot of our attention on because it is so important. And so HR will be meeting with our labor partners as well. I know tomorrow with CSEA to begin to do some of the discussion around this and how to support our employees. So that concludes my information for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Salinas. Moving on to item 11, our staff report, and that's the update from Mission Valley ROP. Mr. Hanson? Welcome.
While the clicker's on its way down here, I'd like to just say thank you very much, Superintendent Salinas. Newark students come to the center as well. Just today, we sent a note out to teachers to ask them to spend the 20 seconds. We have kids getting off buses from 10 different schools every other hour of the day. So we have a little different challenge. We recognize that we need to relax a little bit, have instructors not think that every single minute of every day needs to be spent teaching, assessing, and doing lots of schoolwork. It's not going to be a bad idea for a couple of months to wash a lot of hands. So we are ramping up and expecting to do that. So we commend your efforts. Thank you very much, Cabinet, Ms. Aquino, President Martinez, Superintendent Salinas. We are here to just touch on a couple of points to tell you about Mission Valley ROP, what we do, how long we've been doing it, and some outcomes that we strive for. Of course, we have a funding model and a service model that is really pretty simple. New Haven, Fremont, and Newark Unified School Districts all contribute a percentage of our general fund annually, and we strive to serve the same proportionate percentage of students and actual expenditures in each district. So whether we're buying supplies, doing projects, or seating students, we can pretty much track our expenditures down to these historic percentages. For over 40 years, we have been providers of technical education in several industry sectors. Of course, we are partners with New Haven, Fremont, and Newark. We are not, I don't think we're at 4,000 students this year, but close. And we have a mission statement to provide relevant career technical education by preparing students for employment and college through industry standard tools, training, and experience. Now, how we do that is by having our coursework be guided by parameters that are pretty different from core education. Our comprehensive site deal essentially, for the most part, in science, English, math, social studies, and elective categories, and some technical ed, but what makes Mission Valley ROP different is all of what we do is career technical education. We adhere to 11 elements of high quality CTE. This is a part of the California State Plan for Career Technical Education, and you can see just kind of looking through that list, high quality curriculum and instruction, student leadership development, industry partnerships, systems responding to economic demands. So labor market information, advisory partnerships that validate a fairly flexible curriculum in each industry sector. These are the things that allow us to change with industry demands much quicker than what you would find in core curriculum in the state blueprints. We also operate within California standards for career-ready practice. These 12 items here, I tend to think of as the reasons why students come from CTE courses. Go and tell their friends, those classes are great. Those are a lot of fun. They go home and tell their parents, wow, we actually did this. We saw this. Folks from industry came and told us about these opportunities. And you can kind of look through this list. Apply appropriate technical skill. Communicate clearly. Develop educational and career plans with personal goals. Enhance performance. Persevere in problem solving. These things make career technical ed different in many ways, most of the time, than what we experience in core education. We combine those things with CTE anchor standards, Common Core, next generation science standards, industry certifications, internships, students doing community classroom work, and of course, the things that high school kids probably recognize more so, A to G course recognition and college credit articulated courses. With that, I'm going to invite Dr. Cliff Adamshart, to talk a little bit about industry certifications. He is the Director of Ed Services at the center.
Thank you. Superintendent Hanson leaned over to me a little while ago and said, "We don't have a song? We're not a champion of anything? How are we going to compete with that?" Well, hopefully we can share some information, just kind of highlight some of the things we do. One of the important things about the programs we offer is getting our students with some industry background experience and some certifications. This is actually now going to be reported through CalPads, as well as to the California dashboard through the CCI. They're going to want to know every student and what certificates of industry they have earned. And so up here on the screen, you just have some examples of some of the certificates that our students at the center and on our campus sites, they receive through this training. American Heart, Basic Life Support, HIPAA. We have a national exam provider by the name of Precision Exams. They offer a whole host of industry certified certifications, Food Handlers Card, and then we have our own specific program certifications. An example here is like medical assisting. We can include sports therapy, nursing assisting, auto body, auto tech, those kind of things. And we're constantly looking to add more certifications, and we do that on an annual basis. Another thing that's going to be reported to the CCI through CalPads, to the California dashboard, is internships. We have a lot of students that look forward to that time. They come to the center, they study 4 to 6 months, and then they look forward to that time where they can go out and practice what they have been learning for the last little time in their theory classes. We do have a lot of questions from districts, parents, about what are some of the requirements, and so we're trying to get that early and often. Some of the things that come up are, how do students get there? Well, we don't necessarily have an ROP bus that would take all 700 or 800 kids every day to their internship, so they must retire their own. You have a clicker? Oh, sorry. They must provide their own transportation. Sometimes students, if they don't quite make the qualifications for an internship, they may be dropped from the class. It's kind of hard to tell a student that, but as we'll see here in just a second, our internships are actually directed and provided by our industry partners who set the requirements for that. So if you can think about an example of a medical assisting student that is trying to learn vital signs, those particular skills, if they don't have that mastered, you're not necessarily going to want to turn them loose on a patient, because that's what they're going to be working with live patients, as an example. So advisory committees set these standards for us. Mr. Hanson, next slide, please. It's not often I get to tell him what to do. So these advisory boards, we meet annually, at least annually with them. They're made up of local business and owners and leaders. They review and approve our curriculum. They make suggestions for equipment. They make curriculum suggestions. They provide guest speakers, equipment donations, job shadows, and more importantly, most of them will provide internships and opportunities for our students to get that hands-on experience. Just some statistics about our courses. We continue to increase the number of our UC A to G approved courses at ROP and also at the programs that we have on center classes. We have 59 different CTE courses. And this slide says 38 are UC approved. That is now 40. We just received this past week approval for 2 more, and we have a couple more that are waiting for approval. So we're constantly increasing that, and now about 68% of our coursework through Mission Valley RP is UC A to G accredited. So we're excited about that. We have to date 42 articulated courses. Out of our 59, it's about 71%. So students who accomplish with a certain parameter based upon what the college says, they pass the class, they pass an exam, they get a certain grade in the class, they can receive college credit. So that is also an exciting thing for our students, and we're also looking to increase our articulations with our local community colleges. We concentrate on that every year. 40% of our enrollees are pathway completers. Definition of a pathway completer is someone who completes at least 300 hours in a particular program or pathway. 100% of our RP campus just across the freeway courses are completer courses just by nature because they're 2-hour classes, so the possibility of at least 360 hours of coursework is available to them. 82% of our students are in either an A to G or an articulated course. In the 18-19 school year, just last year, we had students earn about 2,251 industry certifications, and of those, and that's a total, I'm looking at, I have the Newark statistics here, so that means we have 232 students from Newark schools earning a total of 568 industry certifications last year. So that's an incredible job that they've done. Overall, at Mission Valley RP, 929 students earned college credit. And for Newark, that came out to 143 students earning approximately 429 units of college credit. Again, well done. The next slide just kind of shows the progress since we've tracked this. This is all CCI dashboard data. And so over the last number of years, you can see how we've just been increasingly adding to the articulations and the certifications. And we just keep growing and growing it. And this chart will be different next year. I'm going to turn now any remainder of time to Mr. Hanson. He can talk to you a little about the dashboard and answer any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Adams-Hart. We just want to point out why this is so important. The College and Career Indicator has a number of elements. Some of it is based on state testing. There are many students, and probably the majority of the percentage prepared and approaching prepared students in every district will be recognized as such just based on their standardized, their state tests, their SBAC performances. So it's not really a straight line relationship between an increasing percentage prepared CCI data per school or per district and what the ROP does. What we want to do is make sure that we've made a CCI improvement opportunity out of every course that we offer. So that's why you see this trend in increasing certifications and increasing articulation and college credit gathering potential, because what we want to do is make every opportunity for a student to gather college credit in an articulated course and post a recognized industry certification and community classroom hours. So that is really what we're, the trends and development and program evolution are at the center and in sites in the district. Do you have any questions for me?
Oops, there you go. Member Gutierrez?
Not a question. Just wanted to say thank you for all your work and serving our Newark students, and to hear the numbers, it's astonishing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Member Rodriguez?
Mr. Hanson, thank you. Thank you very much for your bodyguard who came with you. The history of, the ROP is so important to us. I know you've been our superintendent, what is it, 7 years now, or am I losing it?
Almost.
Almost. And we took you away from Kennedy High School. But anyway, we're so proud of the partnership we have between Newark Unified and the Mission Valley RP. It was approximately 15 years ago when we had a little space over there, Loyola in Fremont, and then the ROP board, and I was one of them, talked about building a new building and having a center that we could be proud of. And I think Lily May, the present Fremont mayor, was part of the ROP board at that time. And then we came together and we talked about building that building, the beautiful building on the corner of Plakow and Stevenson. And having you as our superintendent the last few years, there was concern a few years ago that Newark wasn't getting the piece of the pie when it comes to RLP, and you've made sure that that's happened. You've increased courses, and to have them UC eligible and A to G is so important. And I want to commend you on also reaching out to the alternative schools. And I know you have you invite the special ed students, and I think they have a program also, if I'm not mistaken. But what you're doing over at Bridgepoint is also very important to us. The way the culinary program has grown over the years, and so many of the kids are involved in that, it's just be commended. So thank you for the partnership, and hopefully as time goes on, we'll continue to increase Newark kids being part of the RP. Thank you. Thank you much.
I'd just like to make a point about the success of and the benefit and of having the building at Blakehouse and Stevenson. It was your current CBO, Ms. Dela Cruz, who was instrumental in planning most of that. That was before my time, so I'd like to give credit where credit's due. It is something that we talk about with every principal, certainly with principals here in Newark. Every minute of every student's day is important to us. And we recognize that at alternative placements in every classroom.
Right.
So that's what we talked about when we had our field trip to the Newark Center at Ohlone College last week. There were many, dozens and dozens of Newark students there.
Right.
And it's an exposure trip. It's an opportunity.
Right.
It's a day for them to see something that they don't see maybe every day. And the idea is every minute of every day has to be important to us. So we stick by that, and we appreciate your partnership.
And thank you for sending Ms. Dela Cruz our way. And we're not going to apologize for her being here. But thank you, and continue to do what you do. And we really, again, we appreciate our families and kids appreciate it also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Hanson, thank you so much. I think a lot of us talk about making sure we have pathways for all of our kids, knowing that they all have different interests. And so very, very exciting to see just the trajectory that you guys have really taken in the last couple of years to offer not only just a gamut of different types of courses, but just the opportunity in terms of getting college credit. So that's fantastic, and a lot of, I think, positive things already said here. But what I wanted to ask you is, what can we do to help you? I know I'm sure there's, dependencies that we have. So are there things that we can do to help?
Just, continue to support us and cooperate. Technical ed is not, always considered to be mainstream educational opportunities. It isn't. And what the growth and the change in our program in 5 years reflects some crossover where A to G, community college articulation, coursework, and technical ed, where all those lines intersect and cross. So multiple objectives are achieved in one class enrollment. We know that has to be important. It's more important all the time. So we need to realize to not claim to be something we aren't, but to seriously champion what we are, and know that there are serious questions and serious demands on our work. So thank you for your partnership. We appreciate your time tonight.
Absolutely. Sorry, we have one more comment. Member Irwin?
I'd like to beg to differ that you think that you guys aren't important. I think that over time that giving kids or students an additional pathway to succeed in life and giving them these additional skills, because not all of us are meant to be students, and the way we learn is we have different ways of learning, and to roll all of these different criteria into the into the curriculum that you guys are providing for these students and giving them college credit, adding college credit to it is a great thing. So thank you for doing that.
I agree.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 12, employee organizations. Let's start with NUMA tonight. Do we have anybody from NUMA? Okay. Okay. CSCA?
So the only thing that I have to report tonight is we're going to be sending 2 members to the CSCA Bargaining Academy this weekend coming up, and then we will be sending 3 to the CSCA Area Institute for training the next weekend. So that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody from NTA? Okay. Thank you. Okay, moving on to old business. First item is 13.1, Board Policy 4116, Certificated Personnel Probationary Permanent Status.
I move that we approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, do we have any speaker cards? No speaker cards on this? Is there any discussion?
I think it looks good and ready to.
If not, so the motion on Ms. Aquino?
Motion to approve second reading by Rodriguez and seconded by Member Gutierrez.
Okay. Let's see this. So I have a point of order question regarding the fact that this is a personnel probationary policy. Does the student board member vote?
I would recommend not for this one.
Okay, thank you. So I will open voting. Please vote. Okay. Motion passes with 5 ayes. Next item is 13.2, Administrative Regulation 4218, Dismissal, Suspension, Disciplinary Action, second reading. May I have a motion to approve the second reading?
I move that we approve 13.2.
Do I have a second? Okay. Any discussion? I will open voting. Please vote. Motion passes with 5 ayes. Moving on to item 14.1, resolution number 2061 to commit to budget balancing solutions for 2020 to 2021 and 2021 to 2022 fiscal years, lots of 20s. So can I get a motion and a second, please?
I move that we vote on 14.1.
I second it.
Okay. So we do have a speaker, Miss Cindy Parks.
Okay, first of all, potential revenue enhancements. The second page of your document speaks about increasing ADA by 0.5. I think that that's a very aggressive percentage point. I question whether it's realistic. Where is the plan in order to increase it by 0.5%? The job for pupil services was created several years ago with that position needing to fund itself by the increase of ADA. Probably you were all still in high school when that happened. But that's why that position that Anna Leon currently occupies was created. And that position was created with that person was supposed to pay for their salary by the increase of ADA. So again, I don't see that. I see the last chart that I was able to find online where it showed your ADA and your enrollment, and they can continue to decline at the same rate. So again, this is something that's been going on for quite a while. What are you doing? What are you going to do that's going to bring that 250 in, 250,000? Realigning some of the job descriptions when you're going to put the assistant principal to Title I, that will encompass new reporting because it's Title I. Will that require a job description that needs to be negotiated? Under the furlough days for NUMA and contract employees, it says 1 or 2. I don't understand why I didn't just pick 1 or 2. I hope you would give direction on what you expect, not just leave it floating out there. And again, would that be a negotiated item? Seemed to me back in the day, what we used to see, I'm sure Mr. Rodriguez could account for this, is that when the board would get a budget with cuts, it would be, this is what's negotiated, this doesn't need to be negotiated. So you knew what you could make a decision on versus what would have to be negotiated at a later date. The discretionary instructional material money, the lottery money, the textbook adoption money, it seems like you're just shifting money from one account to another, and I'm trying to understand the rationale behind some of that. The downgrading of the director of IT to a manager, that was already done this year, so I don't understand why that money, the savings for that money isn't listed on here. Maybe it's in the first interim somehow, I don't know, but there are definitely some savings on here that could have been captured in this year, like your negotiation for the McGregor Field. The city's already paying for that. My question to you would be, how are you going to follow up to make sure all of this is enacted? And I guess another thing is how come some of the savings don't carry over to other years? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Park. Ms. Sue Eustace.
Good evening. As I was saying earlier this evening, that the Ryland report had indicated how we had, over the last 7 to 10 years, had taken and had been laid off and cut quite a bit. We're at bare bones. That report indicated that, if you were listening, and I know some of you are new, so some of you didn't hear it, but go back and read the whole thing. Go back and see it, because it was clearly the truth. I was actually surprised to see it. I'm curious who you think who's going to do the work? I'm hearing all kinds of things. It's $500,000 worth of cuts. Who's going to clean the classroom? You can't cut the custodians anymore. You barely got enough now, as well as a few subs, and most of the time you're using those subs every single day. If you have that virus hit, who's going to be cleaning those classrooms? You don't have enough people. You don't have enough maintenance men. And you actually, in a lot of ways, should have maintenance men that are higher trained than what you got, but you're not attracting them because they don't want to come here, because they don't want to make the sub pay that you're paying them. Who's going to be feeding the kids? You can't cut there. Who's going to be taking and running the offices? You're not going to be able, if you lay people off, you're not going to be able to have people come in and work those jobs, because there are jobs, you lay it off, you do without the work. Who's going to be running the libraries? As it is now, you don't have a librarian there the whole day. You only have them there a few hours a day. And a lot of them are giving up a lot of their time to do book sales and all different kinds of things. I don't see where they're going to feel like they want to be doing extra time when you're laying them off. $500,000. Most of my people they're not even full-time people. They're working less than 4 hours. Where are you going to come up with $500,000? I don't understand it. Who's going to be running the child care centers? You're barely got enough in there to legally run it now. Who's going to replace the one-on-one aides that you are required to have in a classroom for a lot of the kids? I can go on and on. It doesn't do me any good to go on and on, but most of our members are part-time workers, and it's going to take one hell of a lot of cuts to make up that. Teachers make over $100,000 a year, and I'm sure administrators make more. Why are you taking $500,000 out of our hide? When you look at the teachers, $90,000. I don't want to see a teacher laid off, but at least it would only be about 8 teachers at the most. Classified, you're going to be hitting big numbers. Big numbers. I don't know where you think you're going to get it. And then to boot, you only take the administrators and you shift where you're getting the money to pay them. I don't see where there's any layoff of any administrators. We still have the same amount of principals, we still have all the administrators, but we're going to cut the hide out of your classified bargaining unit who, if you were not here, your school isn't going to run.
Thank you, Ms. Eustace. Do we have any comments, any questions for staff? If not, could you please repeat the motion?
I do have a question.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So looking over all of the potential expenditure reductions on page 2 of this document, am I correct in assuming that this gets sent to the county and this is sort of our plan for getting back to a positive certification versus a qualified certification? So my next question is, if the board approves this resolution, does this bind the district to do all the things that we set out to do here, or is this sort of like a placeholder and we're, half committing to it, or we may do it and we may not?
So I'm going to ask Ms. Dela Cruz to give a little bit of context and background, and to build on that. We brought this forward at the study session, and we're also building on what the board approved in October of 2019.
Yeah, so as we prepare for our second interim budget report and also for next year's budget, there were certain requirements that were made by the Alameda County Office of Education in order for us to balance our budget because of our structural deficit. So this plan does have some flexibility. We are committing to make these reductions in order for us to balance our budget. And these are some of the items that we've identified, but there's still some detail that have yet to be worked out. And the commitment is for the district to identify at least $2.5 million in reductions in order for us to solve our structural deficit. And because we've identified closing of schools and consolidating schools as part of our plan, in the resolution, there's a commitment to provide a contingency in the event that they don't happen, or we have to have an alternate solution.
And if I can add, a lot of this work is also about right-sizing a district that is in declining enrollment, unfortunately. And so as we look at some of the next items that are following this, some of the work that Human Resources needs to do is certainly, as we've committed to, speaking with the bargaining units to hear from them, their input. The other piece that's missing from this is certainly our directors, our classified directors, that will give input as to where there could be some reductions. Again, it's speaking to right-sizing the district. Unfortunately, we are in this declining enrollment with I think the expectation that as soon as enrollment ramps up, positions that would return back or services that would return back to the district.
Just I think a comment, and because I think the Student Member Castillo, you picked up on, these are potential. They're not set in stone, so to speak. And if I remember correctly from the first interim and last year, the second interim, we do have to put a plan. Here are the buckets that we're looking at, but this is not necessarily the final, correct? Yeah, so more to come. Yeah. Any other questions? If not, if you can please repeat the motion, Ms. Aquino.
Motion to approve resolution number 2061 to commit to budget balancing made by Member Gutierrez, seconded by Member John.
Okay. Student Member Castillo, how do you vote?
I abstain from voting on this item.
Thank you. I will open voting. Please vote. Okay. Motion passes with 5 ayes. Okay, next item is 14.2, resolution number 2060, resolution to reduce the number of certificated employees due to a reduction of particular kinds of services for the 2020-2021 school year. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
I move.
I second.
Member Gutierrez moves, Member Nguyen seconds. Any questions or comments? If not, please, Ms. Aquino, repeat the motion.
Motion to approve resolution number 2060 by Member Gutierrez, seconded by Member Nguyen.
Okay. This is personnel related, so I will, okay. And I will open voting. Please vote. Motion passes with 5 ayes. Item 14.3, resolution number 2058, criteria for determining order of seniority for employees with the same date of first paid service. The action is staff recommends that board approve resolution 2058. Can I get a motion and a second?
I move.
I second.
Member Gutierrez moves, Member Nguyen seconds. Any questions from the board? Comments? Please repeat the motion on the floor, Ms. Aquino.
Motion to approve resolution 2058 by Member Gutierrez, seconded by Member Nguyen.
Okay. I'll open voting. Please vote. Motion passes 5 ayes. Item 14.4, resolution number 2063, elimination of certificated positions. Staff recommends the board approve resolution 2063 to permanently eliminate 7.6 FTEs of certificated permanent positions as of July 1, 2020. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
I move.
I second.
Member Gutierrez moves. Member Nguyen seconds. Okay. Member Zhang.
Oh, just a technical question. What is the reason to separate resolution 2060 and 2063?
May I respond? There's a difference with this resolution. The specific resolution is the abolishment of actual positions that will be forever gone. We can't replace them anymore. Where the previous resolution talks about having to lay off potential personnel. The positions will still be needed, so we will have to replace those positions. These positions right here will be eliminated.
Okay, I see.
No longer funded.
Member Gutierrez.
No question, just wanted to point out a question that I had earlier and that was clarified for me, and there was a concern regarding the fact that the subject Spanish was in there, and I did ask if we were no longer going to be providing Spanish language, and I was clarified that the subject will still be there, just as position, so just wanted to make that clarification, and thank you for providing that answer.
Thank you. If no more questions or comments, Ms. Aquino, can you please repeat the motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 2063 by Member Gutierrez, seconded by Member Nguyen.
Please vote. Motion passes with 5 ayes. Okay, moving on to item 14.5, HVAC maintenance and repairs. Staff recommends approval of additional work for maintenance and repair of district HVAC units. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
I'd like to make the motion.
I'll second it.
Member Rodriguez moves, Member Gutierrez seconds. And we do have a speaker card, Ms. Cindy Parks.
I guess I hope you never have to amend your motions. It's just crazy you take motions in seconds before you've heard the public speaker and perhaps any dialogue amongst the board.
Thank you, Ms.
But I can speak my 3 minutes. Just a reminder on this Education Code 17462 is regarding the sale of property, and that the funds derived from the sale of surplus property shall be used for capital outlay for the cost of maintenance of the school district property that the governing board of the school district determines will not reoccur in the 5-year period. So I just want to remind you that any of your projects that you utilize this money for, they have to have a lifespan of at least 5 years. And I wanted to draw your attention to the last bullet under the background, that most of the HV units are over 14 years old and have outlived their lifespan. So you want to make sure that you're not putting Band-Aids on, like the child care unit that I had brought to your attention before at Lincoln, that child care unit was beyond its lifespan, that portable, and you were looking to replace and put a brand new HVAC unit in there. So just making sure that, I don't know if all of these proposals are going to come to you. If something's below somebody's limit, perhaps you wouldn't see anything. So I don't know how this is going to work. So I wanted to just bring this to your attention so that perhaps you can ask those questions to make sure that the money is being used the way it should be. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parks. Any questions or comments? I had a question for staff with regards to, the never-ending request for HVAC repair funding, if you will. So my question to staff had been, is this a bucket of money we want to have just in case, or is this already earmarked? And I think that there is some validity to the question of, are we putting a Band-Aid that we're going to come and have additional request 6 months from now? Or is this to, again, whether we're going to get a new unit or to get it beyond that lifespan, acceptable lifespan?
Yes, so this item is for projects that are already earmarked. And what we're hoping to do with the bond and with some other sources of funding, including the Fund 40 special reserves, is to work with our project manager and identify those units that need to be replaced and have the entire district assessed and make sure that we address all of the HVAC issues that are in our district right now.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, if you could repeat the motion.
Motion to approve HVAC maintenance and repairs by Member Rodriguez, seconded by Member Gutierrez.
Student Member Castillo?
I vote yes on this item.
Thank you. Bless you.
Excuse me, sorry.
Please vote. Motion passes with 5 ayes. Okay, next item is 14.6, CSBA 2020 Delegate Assembly Election. In this instance, as a board must vote as one. We do have to vote for 3 delegates, and we currently were given a list of 4 candidates to choose from. I had reached out and just asked if you all could have, taken a look at some of the bios so that we could, each of us present who is our pick, if you will, so that ideally we reach consensus and make a recommendation. Member Zhang.
So I happen to know one of the candidates, so I will recuse myself from this vote.
I think that's okay. Member, I mean, it's up to you if you want to abstain, but past board member had a position, and she would lobby for herself here, so I think it's okay. So I'll leave it to you. Member Rodriguez.
Thank you, President Martinez. We normally do this every year, and Nancy Thomas, when she was on the board, would be the person that would kind of give us a little bit of bio on the different individuals and a little bit of history. I would like to, my preference is for Mr. Aguilar, for Ms. Bonta, and for Ms. Tate. The reason I got Ms. Tate as opposed to Ms. White. Ms. White has been on there a long time, and I like to see some new people in there. So that would be my preference for those 3.
And sorry, okay, thank you. I was just asking Ms. Aquino if she could keep note. Ms. Nguyen, or Member Nguyen?
Thank you, President Martinez. I am in the same train of thought as Member Rodriguez. So I'm with James Aguilar, Ms. Bonta, and Ms. Tate.
Thank you. Okay. Are you still abstaining? Okay. Member Gutierrez?
Same vote, Aguilar, Bonta, Tate.
And my vote is as well. James Aguilar, Ms. Bonta, and Ms. Tate. So a motion is needed. Okay, so let me
I
get back.
can make the motion.
Please do.
For the CSBA Delegate Assembly, my motion is that we go with Mr. James Aguilar, I'm reading it, Ms. Bonta, and the write-in candidate, which is Ms. Monique Tate.
Okay. Can I get a second, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you, and I will open voting. Please vote. Okay, motion passes with, I think I can't see it, but four ayes and 1 abstention. I guess I could see it here. Okay, next, we move to consent agenda.
I ask that we remove 15.2, which in this case means we will only vote on 15.1 because we have a speaker for 15.2.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve item 15.1?
So move.
Can I get a second, please? Okay. Member Rodriguez moves, Member Nguyen seconds. Please vote. Okay, motion passes with 5 ayes. So item 15.2, we do have a speaker card. Miss Cindy Parks on guest teachers.
I guess, first of all, I'd like to say thank you that it's finally on the agenda. I did ask for this item to be put on back in January, and I appreciate the fact that it's made it. I would also like to ask that there be some type of protocol in some way, because it just doesn't seem like this was done very effectively. The LCAP committee voted for this back in May of last year. The board in June of last year voted for the implementation of this item, and you're now having to have it put on here, put on the consent calendar to make what should have happened in June and effective July 1 of this year. You're now making it effective March 11th. So anybody who's substituted in this district before March 11th is going to be paid at the rate from last year, not what the LCAP was supposed to be doing. And, but again, I appreciate that it's on here, and I'm going to lobby again for this to continue in the LCAP meetings and actually ask that they look at the long-term, because the long-term subrate is, in Fremont, is almost $235, and you're paying only $200. And I think you're seeing the suffering when you hear from the teachers about there being no subs and people are losing their preps. And I'm not going to say that that's why you have the exodus that you do. It always seems there's always an exodus every year, but I think that, you know, the teachers expect to get, then it's bargained for them to have their release time, and they're not getting it. They're being pulled into classrooms. I've even heard that sometimes the PE teacher is having to go teach a class, and the campus monitors are having to oversee the kids on recess at the elementary sites. So it's not working. So I'm glad that this is going to be in place to where the teachers are going to get, hopefully, this increase will make us competitive, let's put it that way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Parks. And I don't normally comment, but I did want to just comment regarding some discussions we've had with staff around putting some protocols in place so that there is tighter connectivity and line of sight when we do make some decisions on LCAP, making sure we implement on time. So thank you for your comments. Items 16, consent agenda, non-personnel items. Oh, I'm sorry, did I skip something? Oh, sorry, we didn't vote on that.
A motion and a second, please.
I'm sorry. Can I get a motion and a second to approve item 15.2 on the consent agenda personnel items?
I move that we approve 15.2.
Okay. Member Rodriguez moves. Member Nguyen seconds. Please vote.
I have something.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. It's just the way things are in this area that we're constantly in competition with our neighboring districts. And this is something that, and I agree that we should have probably approved a long time ago, but we are approving it now, and we do need to look at the long-term sub. It's so important that, you know, that we have subs. And I think it's long overdue, and I'm glad we're doing it. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Please vote. Motion passes with 5 ayes. Okay, now I'm moving on to consent agenda, item 16, non-personnel items. Can I get a motion and a second to approve as is?
I move that we vote on items 16.1 through 16.4 as they are.
Get a second?
I second.
Member Gutierrez moves. Member Nguyen seconds. Student Member Castillo, How do you vote?
I vote yes on these items.
Thank you. Please vote. Motion passes with 5 ayes. Okay, so now we move to item 17, future meetings.
Yes, we have currently in the queue for a study session around restorative practices, but I do want to share that we have a great opportunity. I know we have at least one board member joining me and Ms. Leon, the Alameda County Forum on the State of Juvenile Justice and Reform and Elevate Justice Act. So we want to be able to see what the best practices are in Alameda County and bring that back. But I would like to hear, I'll send something out to board if there's something specific you would like so we can go deeper. I know we've spoken about PBIS and some restorative practices. And as you recall, we also had a study session on just the process for expulsion. And I think there's deeper interest to get a little bit more specific. So I will be sending out a query to all the board. Thank you.
And just to confirm, do we have a date or?
I believe it's the first April meeting. Is that April 2nd? Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on this item? No? Thank you. So moving on to item 18, Board of Education Committee reports, announcements, requests. Any discussion? We'll start with student member Castillo.
Thank you, President Martinez. So first, an update on you all for the an update to you all for the Rocketry hoodies. They are coming. We hope to have them by next Tuesday, and I will probably bring them by the district office so you guys can be wearing them all for the next board meeting. The next thing I wanted to address was a couple of discussions, things that have been floating around at Newark Memorial High School among the students. The first one is I wanted to ask staff, maybe Superintendent Salinas can give me an answer to this question, but with the COVID-19 outbreak, there have been rumors spreading that school might have to extend into the summer as if this district has to close the schools. So I don't know if you have an answer for me right now, or if you can give me an answer later, but.
So we don't know yet from the California Department of Education. What we're hearing is that, if you recall, I think you were too young. How about the smoke? So when we had a lot of schools closing.
I remember that the board, we had to apply for like some extension.
Correct.
It was, or some leniency. I forget
A waiver.
what it was called. Yeah,
Mhm.
a waiver. There we go. So is that the same?
There may be that possibility. They actually, they're trying to get ahead of this themselves because of what kind of provisions we would put in there, because depending on the how long we would have to have something closed, if unfortunately we would have to have this, it may be so long that there has to be an alternative plan. So what they've asked school districts, what we're doing is other means for seniors and for students to really get the credit that they need. So we're working on that, but there may be just a waiver that we can fill out. So we're waiting for that information, and we'll be sure to share that with student government, because I know that might be a way to get the information out as well. So
Okay.
we'll work on it.
The next item is another, I guess, rumor is the best way to put it, that that the board would be taking action to remove pause from our schedule in the near future. I know it hasn't been discussed in agendas, but there is concern among, especially the underclassmen, that they're not going to have their pause time anymore because let's face it, there are students who abuse that time. But for the overwhelming majority of people, it's probably some of the most productive time they have all week. So I would like to make that appeal to you, and I know I've talked to Member Wynn about it already, but I would encourage you to come and see the benefit that it does have on us, the things that we can accomplish, especially for student athletes who don't necessarily have the time during the evening. So I would just encourage you to come see that at some point. The next item of concern that I have is with the personnel report. Now, I know that I'm not permitted to vote on these, but it is with regards to the fact that employee IDs are still being used for resignations and retirements. With regards to retirements, I don't see how it's fair to the employees who are retiring, that they, they retire and all they're given is an ID in this record. And with the resignations, I see it as a disservice to parents of students and parents of potential students that they don't know who's going to be teaching at the school for the next academic year, and so they can't make an informed judgment on whether or not they'd like to send their student to that school or continue sending their student to that school. So I think in the interest of providing the most accurate information possible, while also recognizing that there is some personnel information that has to be kept confidential, but I would like that to be addressed sometime in the near future. The next two concerns are with my vote as a student board member. I pulled up California Education Code section 35012. Where is it? Hold on. I lost it. Okay. So I'm looking at section 5 or subsection hold on. Section 4 subsection D45. D4B is the reference if you want to look at it. But what it says is that the preferential vote, it says no preferential vote at the very end. No preferential vote should be solicited on matters subject to closed session discussion. So in that regulation of preferential voting, I see no reference to personnel matters. And I would add further that because there is no, because my preferential vote carries no weight on whether or not a measure is adopted, I see no reason why I'm not allowed to express my opinion either way, because it's just an opinion. It's not a binding vote on an item that is taken up by this board. So something to consider, and hopefully I'll get that addressed soon. And the final thing is on that same section, the very next, it's section D, subsection 5, says that the governing board may adopt a resolution authorizing the pupil member to make motions. So I know that is separate from my position here. So if there needs to be a separate motion, or if there needs to be a separate item taken up so that I can start making motions, then I would ask for that to happen and be placed on the next agenda, so that I can do that, because I've been in limbo about whether or not I can step in and say, hey, I move that we can approve this. So I just want to make that, I would like to have that cleared up. And that's all that I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you for your thoughtful comments, and we commit to getting you some answers. Thank you. Member Rodriguez.
Thank you, President Martinez. I just want to commend all the schools that had different events going on, not only in January for Martin Luther King Day, but also for Black History Month. And every school has different things that they've done, and it's excellent what's happens in the classroom when it comes to either Black History Month or when we have the Hispanic toward the end of the school year. But I had the opportunity to have a nice discussion with my nephew, who's a principal of a high school in Washington, D.C., and it's part of the AQ Institute or Academy. And I sent you the email. And basically, these high schools are college prep high schools, just getting our kids ready for college. And I know it's a charter school movement, but some public schools are also picking it up. So if any of you want information on that, I'm pretty sure I can get it for you. And one of the things that I found out that in Washington, D.C., they get $16,000 a year per student, and we barely get $10,000. So it just goes to show you in other parts of the country, where people really value, not saying that we don't value education there, but we're not spending the money. And we have a new assembly member now, and we're going to have a new senator. So this is our opportunity to get them on board, to make sure that they get it at the state level. Um, Mr. Castillo talked about the high school and the hats assembly. If you haven't been to one of those, you should try to get there. It's one of the most wonderful things we do, I think. And then the multicultural, naturally, having all the different foods. Thank you for sharing all that with us, what's going on. And then, since this is Dr. Seuss week, tomorrow, I'm going to be at Snow Elementary reading, and any of you that get an opportunity, if not this year, anytime, I'm pretty sure they can set up where we can come and read to the kids, just not only this week, but other times. It is so wonderful if you can, if you could read to a classroom. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Member Rodriguez. Member Nguyen?
I'm going to let Member Zhang speak because we went to the same event this week.
So, the first thing is, 9 days ago, I think last Tuesday, I went to the kickoff of the Early Learning Community Network event at the Cinnamon Center. That's for our county program for our low-income Hispanic family. And I saw a superintendent there. I saw 2 fellow board members there. And I want to thank everyone that's involved with that program. I want to thank the support from the county and from the city for our Latino family. Quisiera agradecer el apoyo del condado y de la ciudad. Muchos de los estudiantes en nuestros distritos son estudiantes de bajos ingresos. Esas familias necesitan suficiente apoyos y servicios. Y creo que invertir en educación temprana es muy importante para que nuestros hijos no empiecen con desventajas. Finalmente, trabajemos juntos para el éxito de este programa. Let's work together to make sure this succeeds.
Excellent.
And yesterday was the grand GPS, they call it grandparents staff. It's not the PTA, so we got one question for the superintendent because next Friday? No, it's 2 weeks from tomorrow, which is, 2 weeks from tomorrow. They were planning to have a movie night for their fundraiser. So I guess the advice we want to see from you is, given the potential outbreak, should we proceed with caution or just cancel it? What will be your advice?
Yes. So at this point, we're taking events on a case-by-case basis. At this point, I would say proceed with caution, and then I could certainly follow up with the principal and with the PTA members to have some added precautions, if it's some washing stations or just some sanitizers, and making sure that the facility is clean. I do want to, and I'll save for the end. I have something else to add about the coronavirus.
And the next is, I think on March 11th, Music PTA has a fundraiser at Chipotle. So between 4 and 8 p.m., when you go there and mention music, and 33% of the sales will go to Music PTA. So that's it for me.
Thank you. Member Nguyen?
I just wanted to say that I commend Member Zhang for going out to all the school sites and attending the PTA and site council meetings. I'm going to try and be more proactive and also do the same thing, not just be committed to my child's school site, but also additional at other school sites in the district too. And I also would like to extend that to all of you guys, and in the spirit of being more visible and being more open to our community and let them see who we really are. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Gutierrez?
I would like to thank Member Nguyen for the invitation and say I would gladly join you. A couple of things in regards to events coming up. Oh, no. In regards to events coming up next week, please look at the district calendar because there are some coffees with the principals. There's a fundraiser at Blaze Pizza. Then there's, as Member Castillo had said, the crab feed. So please take a look at the calendar so you can see the events that are coming up next week. A little bit of recap on some of the committees. In regards to the Godby survey, we are working with Mr. Brian Godby and in regards to finalizing the survey, and it should be coming out soon. So that is a work in progress. In regards to our communications committee, we have scheduled meetings already, so that those will be coming up soon. In regards to the consolidation committee, I know that I just want to say, please, community members, have some patience with us. We are trying to make sure that we're doing everything, following the right process and dotting our I's, crossing our T's, so we don't miss anything. We are currently trying to finalize our search of a facilitator. So if some community members thought that there was going to be meetings coming up soon, we do apologize for that. They will be extended because, like I said, we want to make sure that we are following the right process and have everything ready for the community. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Thank you for updating on the committee activities. I have discussed with staff actually breaking this section out. Sorry. Is that me? So to try, yep, is that okay? So we will be looking at standardizing the report out for those of you that are active in some of these subcommittees. And ideally, we'll try to go ahead and move it up a little earlier in the agenda so that more folks can hear where we are versus waiting till the end of the meeting. So expect that I will be reaching out, or Ms. Aquino will reach out to you with ideally a standard template to do that. Thank you. Let's see, where else was I going to comment? I can't remember if, did we have a meeting since the Special Olympics or not? We haven't. That was my first time going, and it was just really inspirational. And I was thinking about Coach K's comments about, that we really are making student leaders, or, they're not just athletes in the sense of that they're one-dimensional. It was just so really amazing just to see our high school students really leading our special ed kids, and there was just so much joy, and sometimes I know we have really hard discussions, really hard meetings, and when you go to something like that, it just really makes it all worth it, and you're really reminded. So that was really wonderful, and I too am going to try. A student member, Castillo, you're always inviting us, and we've jotted on the calendar, but I think we kind of let life get in front of us. So we'll commit to try to make more of these activities for sure. Just a reminder, Member Gutierrez and myself are signed up and will be attending the Masters in Governance training tomorrow and Saturday. I think you already took day 4. So tomorrow will be around school finances, and Saturday is around HR policy. So, I mention that because I know that we're making changes, and I think sometimes they don't sit well with everybody. I do hope that you know that when we do make changes, we really are reaching out to folks to get the best guidance possible. So, we'll hope to be able to share some of our learnings and obviously bring it back and do some good with that. So thank you for that, and I'll hand it over to you, Superintendent.
Great, thank you. And I think in that spirit, I do want to piggyback on that districts are school districts are very unique in that really it's this growth mindset where you have continuous improvement, and you really have to work to become a better organization, a better leader. And it's organizations like CSBA, and I know your commitment and the commitment of all of the board to continue to get really factual information that we bring forward. So I try to get in for this weekend, but they're booked. So I will try to join the 3 of you, maybe at one of the upcoming ones. So Ms. Aquino's going to try and do that with me to find me a spot. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Castillo. Yes, the commitment's here, so we will look into that. And I know I see your face when you're like, that doesn't sound right. So we will look into it and make sure we make it right. And finally, I do want to recognize that, and I've been looking at my phone, checking any updates on coronavirus. So I do want to share this, that it's such a moving target. I know that in terms of field trips at this point, we are leaving it to the discretion of the venue, and our principals are being very proactive with field trips. So I'll give you an example. We had a field trip that was scheduled for the Tech Museum, and what the principal did was follow the protocol of calling the Tech Museum, what's happening there, how are we, here you go, and really just what's happening at the museum to ensure that our kids are safe, and so those field trips are going. We have other venues, like I just looked, and right now the Kids Discovery Museum is actually, they're closing right now, and so we're not just going willy-nilly into sending kids out to field trips. We are actually, our administrators are being very proactive, and if a cancellation has to happen, they're communicating that in real time. So for now, we're continuing with field trips, but it's a case-by-case basis. And as we're seeing, as large organizations are starting to have their own decisions, it's trickling down to us. So again, we're being proactive. We're going to follow up on what would happen if we do have to close schools. But again, and I'm following all my colleagues on Twitter. So unfortunately, I'm getting some information from social media, but that's really what you have to do because it's so real time for us. But that concludes my comments for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with that, can I get a motion and a second to adjourn?
I'll second.
Member Nguyen moves. Member Gutierrez seconds. Student Member Castillo,
I vote yes.
please vote. All right, there we go. Yep. And motion passes with 5 ayes. Meeting adjourned 9:30.